Interesting, huh? Good point. Well, a guy who pitches from the windup more than the stretch this year because a lot of guys haven't been getting on against him is Al Leiter. That's not Al Leiter right there, halfway between the mound and home plate, but that's Al, and the left-hander with the second best earned run average in the National League. He has just been terrific this year. Al Leiter going for the Mets.
Okay, and today's Devil Ray lineup is brought to you by your Jeep and Eagle dealers. As you can see, Randy Wynn leads off in right field. Aaron Ledesma in second base, former Met. Quentin McCracken, center fielder. Third, Paul Sorrento, at first base. Bobby Smith at third. Mike Kelly in left. Behind the plate is Mike DeFelice. Kevin Stocker is at shortstop, the former Philly. And on the mound, Rick White.
And the defense for the New York Mets, Bart Gilkey in left, Rich Becker in center field, and Butch Husky in right. Alfonso at third, Orjones at short, Baerga at second, Odelrud at first, and Piazza the catcher. And the umpires for this game, Bruce Fleming behind home plate, Eric Gregg is at first base, Larry Vanover, the umpire, at second, and Mark Hirschbeck, the umpire, at third.
A constant learning process. Masato Yoshi, Bob Apodaca seated, and Hideo Nomo, and I would imagine Yoshi would take over as the translator during the game.
Well, I would think it's important too, Tim, that, how would you want to be playing in a foreign country and not have a fellow countryman and you don't speak the language? I think it's a great acquisition for the two of them. They're best friends, and it gives a companion for him now.
Well, the one thing that has helped Yoshi is that New York City is not a real highly pressured, intense town in which to play, right?
Yes.
Yeah, small town America. Yoshi has done terrifically this year. As you take a look at Larry Rothschild, obviously the first-year manager of the expansion Devil Rays, and Larry Rothschild with 2 World Series rings to his credit. One as the pitching coach for the Florida Marlins last year, and you may remember that Larry Rothschild was a pitching coach for Lou Piniella and the wire-to-wire Cincinnati Reds back in 1990. So Al Leiter on the mound, and the first batter, Randy Wynn, the right fielder for the Devil Rays. Wynn batting .348 in limited appearances. Only been up 48 times, and he takes a fastball outside. One of the few outside fastballs you may see Leiter feature against right-handers.
Well, Al's definitely got the hard slider that breaks down and in on the hands of right-hand hitters. Throws his fastball away, much like Carlton. Carlton, when he spotted his fastball, he spotted it away from right-hand hitters, but he was predominantly inside with his slider and got into a lot of bats.
As Al Leiter will do too, Ralph.
Yeah, he breaks more bats than any pitcher I've seen for the Mets since John Matlack.
And that one high, so it's 3 balls and no strikes to Randy Wynn. Ball 4. So 4 straight balls puts Wynn on at first base. And that'll bring up the former New York Met who signed with the Mets back in 1990, Aaron Ledesma. What a great baseball name, or any name for that matter. Aaron Ledesma. Sounds like a heroic figure out of an Anne Rice novel, doesn't it?
Sounds like Rudolph Valentino.
Yeah. Yes. Leonardo DiCaprio these days. Fastball misses downstairs. 5 straight balls now thrown by Leiter. Mets winning the first game of this World Series 9-2, and then they won yesterday, or the Devil Rays won last night 5-4 in 11 innings.
Some great names like Jake Stryker.
There's a strike, 1-1.
Herb Score.
Yes.
Early win. One and 1 to Ledesma. Just underway here at Shea. Grounded third side. And that ball gets by Ordonez. A lot of top spin. So the first hit of the ball game, and the Devil Rays with runners on at first and second and nobody out.
It looks like that Ray was playing way up the middle here, and that's a rare ball that gets through the hole. So the book on him must be he's an opposite field hitter, because this ball's not that much in the hole, and with Ray's range to either side, he had to be playing extremely up the middle.
Probably cheating for the double play, but I would think with a right-hander up there and Leiter throwing more fastballs inside, you got to play him in the hole or at least shade toward the hole.
When he played for the Mets a short time, he was certainly a right field hitter.
Well, Ledesma with the only hit in the ball game. Here's Quentin McCracken. Showed bunt. He takes a fastball high. McCracken off with a torrid start, .319 on the year with 5 home runs.
27 ball hit games. That's second in the major leagues. He's a good ball player.
There's the best pitch in the arsenal of Al Leiter. 1-1 to McCracken.
That's his best pitch so far in the game, too. The slider down and in, starting it around the belt and then breaking down late and getting the knee high, getting under the bat. A little flatter than Carlton's. Carlton's was more like a 10. I know it was a slider, but to me it was like a big curveball.
Hard curve.
But it just dropped.
Well, it had such tight spin. That's the thing about Leiter. His is more a cutter, and that was it again. The difference between a cutter and a slider is that a cutter gets in on you a little quicker because you can't see the spin of it. You can't pick the spin up.
Fastball on the belt there.
At cutter, you put the pressure on the middle finger and you actually cut through the ball, and that's why the ball has a tendency to sail in on the right-handers. That was it again, and McCracken stays alive. A ball and 2 strikes to Quentin McCracken here in the first inning.
Well, Leiter right now so far, Tim, he's been up in the strike zone a lot, predominantly. He's a couple pitches he's got down, but he's been up. He walked the first batter on 4 pitches that were up in the zone. So he's out there trying to get his rhythm.
Nice play, Piazza. 2-2. That was some scoop right there.
This is really a good play here to keep it from being a wild pitch. Got the short hop with the one-hand catch. Good job.
You don't want to get the count to 3-2 here, and you put the runners in motion. McCracken's not a guy that strikes out.
Not a guy you can double easily either, and the fastball is outside, so we're full at 3-2. Look for the runners to run. Paul Sorrento waits on deck. Piazza giving signs to the middle infielders. I would imagine what he was doing was, if the runners do run, McCracken swings and misses, where he's going with the ball. They're not running, and he strikes out. 1 away. How about that?
Well, stayed out of a bat. That would have wiped the whole inning out. And it was a ball 4. He went for the bad cutter down and in.
Well, it's surprising he isn't running the runners here in this spot, and a good break for the Tampa Bay team, as it could have been a strikeout throwout play and a tough guy to strike out. When you have an expansion club, you got to do more than just play stand around baseball.
Paul Sorrento, the batter. He had 31 home runs with Seattle last year, and he takes a strike. 0-1 to Sorrento.
I think particularly, Ralph, with the left-hander out here today, we got a weaker lineup of Tampa Bay. They've got their left-handers on the bench are Wade Boggs, Fred McGriff, and Dave Martinez, the veteran. They got a good left-handed bench today.
Inside, 1-1. Little high cheese to Sorrento.
That's always a nice pitch. Got the good cutter. Throw the ball up and in. Keep him honest.
That one stayed inside. 2 balls and a strike now to Sorrento. You and I have both agreed over the years, Keith, about that being the most effective pitch to a left-handed batter from a left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, well, left-handers like Willie McCovey, the list goes on. Billy Williams are natural low ball hitters. I was. The up and in pitch was the toughest pitch to lay off and to hit.
Back inside, 3 balls and a strike now to Sorrento. So the leadoff batter, Randy Wynn, walked on 4 straight pitches. Aaron Ledesma singled on a 1-1 count. Quentin McCracken struck out on a full count, and now the count is 3 balls and a strike to Sorrento. No score here in the first inning.
I'd be surprised if they run here. Sorrento can strike out.
They were running, and this one looped into right field. So it's a full count to Sorrento. I mean, to me, that's backwards.
Right. I think he had the last 2 seasons with Seattle. He struck out 103 times, 112 times. You would think they would have ran with McCracken, who doesn't strike out.
Right.
And they turn around and run here.
And the 3-1 count is a hitter's count, and you want him to get a good pitch to hit. Now at 3-2, the runners should be running again.
See if Ordonez is thinking that way, and see if he sneaks in behind Wynn at second base. If you watch Ordonez, folks, if you're out at the ballpark and you watch Ordonez with a man on second, it's almost it's artsy just to watch him lean towards second base. And there he was right there, trying to make Wynn aware of his presence. If he is running, no kind of jump at second base.
Exactly. And as a manager, then you got to think twice about sending him.
There go the runners, and this one tapped foul. The Piazza saw that.
I know. I wanted to hit him.
Yeah, it may have.
May hit him.
Yeah. Didn't pick it up right away, but that ball was fair there for a second.
Well, here's the pitch here. It's fouled, as we see. Oh, yeah, definitely. We have the bad angle up here, and we weren't looking at the monitor, were we?
I certainly wasn't.
I went to bed early last night.
Well, that's not set there.
Still full to Paul Sorrento. There go the runners. And this one fouled back, still 3-2.
You know, so far we've been in this game about 5 minutes, and the manager of the Tampa Bay team has done everything the opposite of what we call. He's running here on a 3-2 count with a left-hand batter up there, and an easy throw to third on a strikeout. This has been certainly a strange start.
So a surprising game so far, particularly Keith's comment about his going to bed early.
That was the all-time high.
Check. Still 3-2 to Sorrento. Well, you had a bed check. Your bed was there, right?
Yeah, check. I was in bed by 12:30, but Ralph, I couldn't go to sleep. It's not my sleeping hours.
1 on, 2 out here in the first inning. Tim McCarver along with Keith Hernandez and Ralph Kiner.
I think I tossed and turned around 3 a.m.
Runners going. Swing and a miss. Throw to third. Not in time. That is the toughest throw for a catcher to make because he has to stay back to get the strike more than on any other count with a 3-2 count.
And the throw was in the dirt. He would have had him because Alfonso had to come up with the ball after hitting the dirt, and that cost him the tag.
So a stolen base for Wynn and Ledesma. 5 stolen bases for Randy Wynn, 3 for Aaron Ledesma, and that brings up Bobby Smith, the third baseman.
And what I liked about this pitch, Tim, right here we're going to show you, is that he came up and in the pitch prior and came right back up and in again. Most pitchers, when they throw inside, they come back with a breaking ball. I like the guy that doubles it up and comes right back in.
Check swing, foul tip. to Bobby Smith. 0-1 to the Devil Ray third baseman. Nothing and 2 now to Smith. Ball and 2 strikes now to Smith. Jim Leland telling me in spring training, he said, you're going to love Al Leiter. That of all the pitchers, including Kevin Brown last year, that Al Leiter was the guy who could keep it off the fat part of the bat more than any other Marlin. Inside 2-2.
He's pitching tough here. This is his best sequence of pitches to a particular batter this inning.
His bread and butter. The fastball inside gets Smith. Back after this from Bell Atlantic. Rick White has started 2 games for the Devil Rays in Larry Rothschild. He used to pitch with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He signed as a free agent under the guidance of Chuck Lamar, the general manager, last January with Tampa Bay.
And today's Met lineup brought to you by your Tri-State Quality Ford dealer. As you can see here, we got Fonzie at third leading off. Bernard Gilkey, who says he's swinging good at the plate, but in bad luck in left. Mike Piazza behind the plate. Olerud is batting cleanup at first. The red-hot Carlos Baerga at second. Butch Husky in right. Rich Becker in center field today. Ray Ordonez at short, our Gold Glover. I always like those Gold Glovers. And Al Leiter, our starter.
And the defense for Tampa Bay, Mike Kelly in left, Quentin McCracken in center field, Randy Wynn in right. At third base, we have Bobby Smith. Shortstop is Kevin Stocker. Aaron Ledesma at second base. And at first base, Paul Toronto. The catcher, Mike DeFelice.
Edgardo Alfonso leads it off. Al Leiter pitching out of trouble in the top of the first inning. And the first pitch from Rick White is inside, ball 1. 1-0 to Edgardo, batting .261. Slowed earlier in the year with that strain in his rotator cuff, on the disabled list for 15 days. And there's a strike from White, 1-1.
Well, White has had a little bit of the long ball, touched by long ball. In 8 innings, he's given up 3 home runs and 2 in 1 start. His second start. So we'll have to get a feel for him here. This is an expansion team. There's a lot of guys out here that just have minor league experience. White is not one of them. He's had some major league experience.
Signed originally by the Pirates.
2-2 to Alfonso. As a matter of fact, Larry Rothschild telling me before the game that in a very unusual way, and he wasn't obviously speaking verbatim, word for word. High and inside, a full count to Alfonso. Larry saying that injuries have been good for the Devil Rays in this sense, and I guess you might be thinking, well, only a supreme optimist can make a statement like that. Alfonso fouls it away, but his thinking was, as an expansion team, when you have a lot of injuries, you see a lot of players. And going into their second year in 1999, they will be much more able to appraise their talent by seeing a lot of players at the major league talent. I've really never thought of that. It makes a lot of sense. Still 3-2.
Well, I think when you're an expansion team, you're not going to fool yourself and think you're going to be in competition for a pennant. So you want to take a look at your players and assess them at the end of the season. The only way you can evaluate a player or players is to watch them in the course of the 162-game season.
Alfonso keeps battling White, still 3-2.
In 1962, the Mets won 40 games and lost 120. Casey Stengel was the manager, and at the end of the season, Casey said, "Men, this was a team effort."
Wasn't just one guy, right? It was a team effort. They lost 3 out of every 4 games they played that year. Still 3-2 to Alfonso. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, they're only 9 games under 500, 27-36 in the toughest division in baseball, with the Yankees running away with the Eastern Division of the American League.
Of course, this expansion, they had a shot at a lot of free agents.
Wonderful at bat for Alfonso. First walk of the ball game given to the Mets. That'll bring up Bernard Gilkey.
This is the kind of pitcher, Tim, I think, just watching him the first batter right here. He throws a lot of fastballs. I don't think he's terribly overpowering. Perfect guy to hit and run with, get the thing going quick.
It seems to me the first time seeing Rick White in 4 years that he's very predictable. And of all the traits about a pitcher, whether it's his pitch selection or the movement of his pitches, if he's predictable, you're going to get him sooner or later. Fouled away, 0-1 to Gilkey.
Well, he got to 3-1 and then 3-2 all those foul offs. He just kept on throwing fastballs right there. So I don't know if he has the confidence, or it's the first batter, you don't want to walk him, to throw a breaking ball 3-2. Boy, as a hitter, you know a fastball's coming. You know, 3-2, tight part of the game, or early to break open a game. If you're a good hit and run man, it's a beautiful thing.
Fastball just misses outside. 1-1 to Gilkey. Cookie Rojas, the third base coach. Alfonso and Gilkey watching the signs of the times. Talked about Alfonso being on the DL, with Bernard Gilkey on the disabled list also. He had a slight crack in his left elbow. Late April to about May 10th, and he came off. He was 1 for his first 24, and since that time, about mid-May, he has been sizzling. Bob Apodaca is the first base coach this afternoon. Talk about double duty.
Jeez. What's a pitcher doing out there? You gotta be kidding me.
Watch a line drive.
Where's Mookie?
Well, Mookie went to South Carolina on a family problem, and he's not here.
Okay.
Cookie Rojas. Cookie Rojas from Cuba, obviously elated, as are all Cuban players and ex-players, at the success of Orlando Hernandez. El Duque winning again last night in Montreal for the Yankees. 2-2 to Gilkey.
Well, I saw Jim Cott the other day, around 5 days ago. He came over to my apartment, and he said this guy's got good stuff. He was really impressed with his first start. This is before his second start.
El Duque 2-0. Ray Ordonez, a Gold Glove winner last year. Livan Hernandez. The Mets will be facing Hernandez, the brother of Orlando Hernandez, on Sunday. We'll have that game, as a matter of fact. Hideo Nomo will go against Livan Hernandez down Miami way. Outside, DeFelice looked like he was crossed up there. How do you cross somebody up with nobody on second?
I hear you. Don't you just put down one finger? You don't do any pumps to the runner on first, do you?
But, you know, sometimes you have to look down there to make sure you got the same number of fingers down. Sometimes you cross yourself up.
You do. You cross yourself up.
Especially on day games.
Well, there is a glare here at Show.
Well, you see catchers all the time look down at their fingers and make sure they're putting down the numbers they're thinking of.
There goes Alfonso, and this one hammered foul.
Boy, he had a big jump right there.
That's a pitch we were talking about, that 2-2 pitch at DeFelice. Mishandled. So Alfonso retreats to first base. Normally you don't see those things go together. A big jump with the count 3-2 because it's not necessary to get a big jump.
Correct. You don't want to get picked off here, that's for sure.
Now the first base coach will say, make sure he goes home.
Hope we got Bob out there. Maybe he doesn't know.
Alfonso running. Fly ball, right field. Fairly deep. Over near the line. A nice play. Randy Wynn. And there's one out as Alfonso retreats to first.
Wynn had a lot of difficulty in left field last night. He was moved to right field and made the play of the game when he threw out a runner at home after a catch on a double play.
Mets losing last night 5-4 in 11 innings after winning on Monday night. And here's Mike Piazza.
Did Mike choose that song? That's a Jimi Hendrix song. That leads into his at-bat. Voodoo Child.
And the breaking ball in there. Strike one. 0-1 to Piazza. I guess he's not the only Hendrix fan. You are too.
Oh, well, yeah, I think so. Well, Jimi Hendrix came out with, that was the, I forget the album, but it was like 1968. And I was a sophomore in high school when that album came out. Electric Ladyland was the album.
Breaking ball stays inside. 1-1 to Piazza. I may like Jimi Hendrix, but he's built more like Steely Dan.
Very good. You're so witty. You're quick.
You can't write down things like that.
No, you got to think on your feet.
Outside, 2 balls and a strike now to Piazza. Tell you, the way Piazza has been hitting, he would be a type of guy that you'd hit and run with because he's been shooting balls through on the right side. He only has 2 home runs, 3 doubles. I say only because normally he's much more productive with the long ball. Outside, 3-1 now to Piazza.
They play him as a right field hitter. He has tremendous power to right center.
You can see center fielder McCracken even shaded toward right center with the count in Piazza's favor. And Mike steps out.
I would send the runner here. It's just 3-1. Let him swing. And as a hitter, you can just take your pitch.
Outside, ball 4. Ralph and I have talked about that a lot, Keith, and for the most part, unless you're a hitter like Alfonso, we don't think a 3-1 count is a good running count, particularly with a guy like Piazza up there, because he wants to be very selective. And I think with a right-handed batter hitting, I think there is confusion with the runner running that might make a right-hander swing at a ball that's not necessarily in his zone.
Well, you really have to protect the runner to some degree. And with a 3-1 count, you want that hitter, especially a good hitter with great power, to have a selection of the pitch. If it's not the pitch he's looking for, he can take the pitch. And then on 3-2, have the runner go.
Yeah, it's true. And the Mets don't have a lot of speed. I played in the Cardinal teams where I never felt they ran Ozzie, they ran Lonnie Smith.
Gary Templeton before.
Gary Templeton. And with the Mets, it was Dykstra and Backman. It was no I felt that they were going to steal the base if I took it.
Curveball is down. 1 ball, no strikes.
And the fact that I'm not a power hitter, I was a doubles line drive hitter that set up for the guys behind me. Darryl, the power hitters were behind me, Darryl and Carter. I never felt like I had to hit the long ball. But me, when I got a 3-1 pitch, my idea was to drive it into the gap, drive it hard.
Outside, 2-0. Most dramatic home run you ever hit? In my mind, it's as clear as yesterday. A breaking ball by Mark Davis in San Francisco as a pinch hitter sitting on the breaking ball. win the game 3-2. Ninth inning home run, I believe, wasn't it?
Pinch hit.
Yep,
And
pinch hit.
I hit so many, it's hard for me to remember.
Outside 3-0 to Olerud.
I think I hit 164. Ralph, how many did you hit?
369.
In 10 years, right?
Yeah, right.
But you know, everybody that comes up to me, they always say, you struck out with the bases loaded. I remember that. They never say you hit that home run with the bases loaded.
See if Olerud's hitting here. Well, that was a good pitch to hammer that ball down and in. Now it's 3-1 to John. 2 on, 1 out. Baerga on deck.
In a way, John Olerud hits a lot like you used to.
Yes, I agree. He's patient. He goes to all fields. I mean, how do you even think about trading this guy now? I mean, he's leading the league in hitting. He's got a good glove.
I don't think they are.
I mean, please.
Well, he walks here. That loads him up.
I mean, he drove in over 100 runs last year. Well, what more do you want from your first baseman?
104 RBIs for Olerud last year. The other time he had over 100 RBIs when he led the American League in hitting in 1993 with the 363 average.
Plus, I think you need one of your big bats in this line. You need a left-hander, particularly with Piazza now. You need a left-handed bat in there.
He's a good fit. There's no doubt about that.
Bases loaded for Baerga. Breaking ball in there. Strike 1.
So as a hitter, you come up here with the bases loaded. You got a guy that's walked the bases loaded, and he leads you off with a nasty outside corner curveball.
That's not fair. I was thinking the same thing, Keith.
Another curve. Another wicked curve. 0-2 to Baerga. Down at third base, Edgardo Alfonso. Over at second, Mike Piazza and John Olerud at first. 1 out, no score, bottom of the first. Ground ball and a real mistake that White got away with.
Those were the pitches earlier in the year that he wasn't getting around on.
He was breaking his bat.
Right. Was not getting his rotation with his hips. And from both sides of the plate now, he's getting his body and his hands through. And that's why he's hitting.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen that since he came here from Cleveland.
Oh, 0-2 to Baerga. Punched foul. Still 0-2.
Well, you got to stay in here. It's you're 0-2. Butch Husky in the on-deck circle. You got to bear down here. The guy's wild, and he leads you off with 2 curveballs, puts you in a hole. You got to go up the middle right here.
Fastball gets him. So Baerga, he's the first strikeout victim by Rick White. And that'll bring up Butch Husky.
And this is a big strikeout here. Gives him his second out of the inning, and he goes after a bad pitch, a high fastball.
They kind of went up the ladder there. All the breaking balls down, a little sinker away, and then up the ladder. Carlos went fishing for it.
Carlos has walked only 5 unintentional times in 201 at bats. That's about 2.5% of the time. It's ridiculous to throw him a strike when you're ahead like that. Husky down and in, 1-0 to Butch Husky. No score, but it doesn't seem like it. Breaking ball inside, 2-0 to Husky. An ideal hitting situation.
Yeah, this is a great spot for Butch. He can make his choice right here. He's not doing well with men in scoring position. 197.
You've got to look at some cheddar here.
Fastball, he looked like he was taking.
It sure did, and that's the worst thing he could be doing. He's got to be in a hitter's thinking mode. Now he's got it even better.
Now you work for 2-0, 3-1 counts.
Right.
You work for them, and when you get them, you're extremely aggressive at the plate.
A time was called by Mike DeFelice, the catcher. He wants to give the signs again. It's 3-0 to Husky. We'll see if Valentine turns him loose here. Bases loaded. No score here in the bottom of the first inning. Taking all the way. Ball 4. So that walks in a run. There have been 4 walks in this inning. 1-0 New York.
Wow.
You know the key at bat in this inning to me, Edgardo Alfonso fouling off 5 pitches before he drew the walk, and now that kind of set the stage to the whole inning. Arguable point.
I think you're correct, Tim, because he was throwing strikes then, and he made him work for it.
Yeah.
It seemed like he just like popped his balloon with that one.
He's walked 4 in this inning, and that one's outside. So 1-0 to Rich Becker. Larry Rothschild, an ex-pitcher, seeing the one thing that managers or pitching coaches don't want to see, and that's ball 2. 2-0. There's no way to defend a walk.
And right here, I'd say he should be taking this pitch. Becker's hitting 143 with runners in scoring position. And the Mets could use another run on a walk. Kind of contrary to what you normally would do, but Becker has not been hitting well.
2 balls, no strikes to Becker. And it's high, ball 3. 3-0. And White can't find the White.
Well, he isn't even finding the block in the plate.
There's some movement. The phone is ringing down that bullpen. I just saw the bullpen coach go run into the phone there because this guy's aiming the ball now.
There's a strike over the White. 3-1 now to Becker.
Just off the black.
There's the White. That's the black and white of it, I guess, huh?
There's no gray area.
Not there. It's ball 4. 5 walks in this inning. It's 2-0 New York. And the carousel continues.
Well, this is expansion right now. This is showing it right here. There's just not enough pitching going around.
That's right. It shows up in the pitching department more than any other place. Right here, Ordonez has got to be taking the first pitch.
Ray Ordonez batting .239. The bases are loaded. 5 walks in this inning. No hits for the Mets, and they've plated 2. Breaking ball in there, 0-1.
Can't get the fastball over, so he goes to the curve.
In a pretty good spot, too. It's like you're a hitter. You go, oh, my goodness. What did I do last night to deserve
Why
this?
me? Yeah.
Just like to Baerga. 2 curves over. And another breaking ball chopped towards second. And it's fielded by Ledesma. And he throws to first. So the Mets score without a hit. 2-0 New York. Back after this from Nobody Beats the Wiz. It was a very, very rough inning for Rick White. He had 5 walks, or issued 5 walks. The Mets scored 2 times. And it was the Devil Rays who were threatening more than the Mets, really, in their half of the first. They had 2 on, and then Al Leiter struck out the side, retiring Quentin McCracken, Paul Sereno, and Bobby Smith, all swinging strikeouts. Rick Williams, the pitching coach of the Devil Rays, as Mike Kelly, the left fielder, leads it off. He's 0 for June, 0 for 17 in the month of June.
Rick Williams is a son of Dick Williams, a former manager in the major leagues and former player.
Harry Gregg said that Kelly did not go around. So it's 1-1 to Mike Kelly. We're in the second inning of a 2-0 ball game. Mets on top. Inside, 2-1.
I see Eric Gregg still on that diet over there. He's been on that diet for 10 years.
Matter of fact, he went to Duke University Hospital and lost about 100 pounds 5 years ago, but looks like he's gained a lot of it back. Kelly is jammed. Piazza makes the play.
He went to that Duke program right after John McSherry died while getting ready to umpire the opening day game in Cincinnati a couple of years back.
John McSherry, one of the great umpires, great guy, one of the best attitudes as an umpire. You can argue with him, he wouldn't get excited. You really had to push him hard for him to lose his temper.
Mike DeFelice, the catcher. Devil Rays trail 2-0, and DeFelice fouls it off. DeFelice, formerly with the St. Louis Cardinals, he broke his bat on that one. That's the first bat of the afternoon that Leiter has gotten, but it won't be his last if all things continue according to Hoyle.
I think he broke. That was an outside corner fastball. I think he cued it off the end of the bat. Normally he gets the bats with that hard slider on the right-hander's hands.
Tampa Bay playing their games in St. Petersburg, Florida. We three are all very familiar with that town. Keith, you were with the Cardinals and the Mets before they moved to Port St. Lucie. And Ralph, you've announced in that area. I was with the Cardinals in that St. Pete area, just a haven for spring training baseball. And the Devil Rays play their games, even though they're the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, they play their games in St. Petersburg. 0-2 to DeFelice.
Right by the causeway there, and a man very instrumental in getting that ballpark built, a great friend of ours, John Lake, Jack Lake, who was the publisher of the St. Pete Times. Wonderful man, and the inspiration for Major League Baseball in that area.
1 ball, 2 strikes to DeFelice. Curveball, punch toward right, and it's going to be a base hit. Extra bases for DeFelice. Husky lumbers over to it, and now DeFelice is being sent to third, and he'll make it. Good example of DeFelice picking up the third base coach, Greg Riddick. And really the only time, in my opinion, that you need that third base coach is that ball down in the corner.
Absolutely. The ball's behind you. When the ball's in right center field, you can make your judgment as you're rounding, getting close to rounding second base. But the ball in the corner here, that's behind you. You've got to pick up your third base coach. That would have been 3 either way if Butch picked it up cleanly.
So a triple for Mike DeFelice, his second of the year, puts him at third with 1 out. And Kevin Stocker, the shortstop's the batter. Infield is back, and now they're coming in, and the fastball is high. You may think that's strange with a 2-0 lead, but you do have the bottom of the order. Makes sense to bring them in this situation. Everybody but Ordonez came in on that play. Now here comes Ordonez, and the fastball inside, 2-0.
I mean, it's a manager's choice here. I would, with the way the Rick White started the first inning, I would play back and concede the run here, because White has no command of his pitches.
Well, you don't want a big inning, and that's the reason why you play back.
Now he's brought the whole infield in now.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the argument is every run counts.
Chopped foul, 2-2.
And that is the manager's choice, and you can't second guess one way or the other. He's in charge there, and Bobby's choosing to cut off the run at the plate here. I think if there was another runner on base, he wouldn't do this.
No, he'd be back.
And the bottom of the order, too. This one hits Stocker, so the fastball goes inside. That's the 6th hit batsman, and it looked like it hit Mike Piazza. That's the second time Piazza's been hit in the last 5 days. First time by Pedro Martinez on the left hand up in Boston. And this time with a carom.
It's a cut fastball in. That's off his knee. And he got it on the ricochet on the inner thigh. The infamous inner thigh for catchers. That hurts.
Throw to first. I think Leiter may have been seeing what White was going to do. I know a lot of managers bunt in this situation. I do not think that's a good play with 1 out, runners on at first and third to put down a bunt. Of course, you are dealing with an American League team, and their pitchers do not bunt. He'll be bunting, and the fastball is high. I think all you have to do is put a ball in play, and unless the defense turns a double play, you've got to run.
That's a good point, Tim. These guys aren't used to swinging the bat.
It's 1 ball, no strikes to White. Swinging the bat here, a chopper, and Alfonso goes to second. Back to first, double play. The pitcher was running. It is 2-0 Mets. Back after this from Avis. Mike Piazza and Bobby Valentine smiling about Al Leiter. And you know, we mentioned Al earlier about Jim Leland in spring training, and Jim said made that comment about keeping the ball off the fat part of the bats. He said, but at times he'll drive you crazy because in almost every inning he'll have runners on, but somehow find a way out of it, and that's what he's done the first 2 innings today.
And I didn't think they had a chance to get the double play.
I didn't either.
Mets defense in that infield is outstanding.
Carlos made a nice pivot there at second base.
And Al Leiter escapes unscathed, and he leads it off here in the second inning, winning 2-0
without a hit.
Al with 4 hits on the year, 4 RBIs also. As a matter of fact, a big hit against the Chicago Cubs, winning that game 3-2 back in early May, or make that early April. 1 ball, no strikes to Leiter. 1-1.
It just doesn't look like Rick White is really overpowering with that fastball. I mean, hasn't got great command as a hitter here. It's just, he throws you the curveball for a strike, fine, do it again, pal, and wait for that fastball on him. You're going to get ahead in the count.
Take the curve and look for the fastball.
Little breaking ball, chopped back to White. Over to Sorrento for the first out in the second inning. It's interesting about pitching after we get satisfy our fans, the folks at Gensana. Fans, Gensana is the all-natural energizer. Find the energy, feel your Gensana. Tim McCarver along with Keith Hernandez, Ralph Kiner on a glorious afternoon for baseball or any other thing for that matter. But it's interesting when you talk about pitchers and their size. I mean, Rick White's a big guy, 6'4", 215 pounds. There's a fastball for a strike. Randy Johnson is 6'10", 230 pounds, and yet Greg Maddux weighs 175 pounds. Pedro Martinez weighs 170 pounds. This one popped foul, 0-2. So you're talking about you know, fair arm and Rick White, but it runs the gamut. Size really doesn't dictate whether you're a good pitcher or not.
Well, I think baseball is it's the one sport of the big 3 that you don't have to be big. I mean, you don't look for, like football, a 300-pound lineman, and you don't look for that in baseball. You don't look for a guy 6'11" or 7-foot center in baseball. You know, it's all in the hands, the wrists, the forearm.
Frank Howard's a good example.
Yeah. Big Hondo.
But you know, if you're 6'10" and you're a hitter, that strike zone is bigger, and it's harder to defend against it.
Of course, if you're 6'10" and it is in the strike zone, you can do something with it, and Frank Howard could do that. As you look at Steve Henderson, the hitting instructor of the Devil Rays, and the fastball gets Alfonso on the outside corner.
That looked like the ball was up. I think Bruce saw the first 5 balls in the first inning. Kind of wants to get this guy to get his rhythm. Going to help him out here.
Speed up the game.
This is a pitch that is, well, I tell you what.
Close enough.
That is belt high. I thought it was higher. He just gave him the corner.
You don't see Alfonso take too often with 2 strikes on that outside part of the plate. You may fool him inside occasionally, but not outside. Gilkey with the bunt attempt, and I did not think that's a good play. I mean, it's 2 out, nobody on. Bernard Gilkey's been swinging the bat. 1 out, nobody out, different story, but not 2 out, nobody on.
Well, he's thinking, I'm sure, that if he gets on, he's got Piazza behind him and then Olerud, and that could be his thinking. But I'm with you, Tim. He's got enough power to hit the ball for extra bases.
Plus, like he told me earlier in the game, he feels real good at the plate, just hitting the ball at people. Hey, keep swinging.
Hammered to right field, and right there is Wynn. Some go-ahead scout's doing his job, I'll tell you. That ball's got to be in there and would be against most teams. 2-0 Mets. Back after this from Vitasana. Mets scored without benefit of a hit in the first inning. Matter of fact, the Mets are hitless, but lead at 2-0. Al Leiter has been in trouble in the first inning and the second inning. He's pitched out of it. And Randy Wynn will be the batter to lead it off. Oh, bobbing head dial man. There he is. Hi, pal.
That's a yes man right there.
Fastball is high. And it's ball 1. You know what? Not too many yes men or coaches in the major leagues now. Used to be that a manager would hire a lot of his good buddies and everything. But now I think a manager really admires autonomy from his coaches. There's a fastball for a strike to Win. 1-1.
Those players, you're always worried that, you know, who was the pipeline back to the manager or back to the front office.
Yep.
Remember George Kissel used to wait in the lobby a few times to see who rolled in at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Ground ball towards short, sucked up by Ordonez.
Of course, Gil Hodges had a better trick than that. He's leaving the baseball with the night watchman in the hotel, and he would ask the guys to sign the ball. They came in late. And then Gil would get the ball the next day and call a meeting.
Well, what did Gil consider late?
Unfortunately for you, it was very early.
Keith, boy, that's the second slam at Keith today. He's after you.
Ralph's all over.
That fastball is inside the Ledesma. He had a base hit back in the first inning.
You would have had autographs all over the place.
Ground ball to Alfonso. 2 quick outs here in the third. Now, Ray Ordonez made a rather routine play. That ball hit to him, but we were talking about it before the game to list, and we asked our guy Artie Friedman to list all the Cuban Gold Glove winners, those whose origin was in Cuba, and they've won it 7 times. The only multiple winner was Manny Minoso when he played with the Cleveland Indians. Here it is again. Zoyo Versailles was also the most valuable player of the American League back in 1965 when the Twins won the American League pennant. Lost to the Dodgers in 7 games. 0-2 to Quentin McCracken.
Leo Cardenas was a shortstop for the Reds, right?
Chico Cardenas, yep.
I didn't know his name was Leo. That's why I always knew him as Chico Cardenas. Yeah.
Boy, he's a good player, too. Oof, he could play. Poked foul, still 0-2 to McCracken.
Cookie Rojas, a Gold Glove second baseman in Cuba.
And McCracken down on strike. McCracken becomes the 4th Leiter victim this afternoon. Still 2-0 Mets. Back after this from Saturn.